Hello everybody. I'd like to have a little talk about my playthrough of the Silent Hill 2 remake. Now, recently I was asked in the comment section of, I think, the last video of the series, if I'm coming back to this one, and the answer is absolutely yes. Now, unfortunately, for various reasons, I chose to prioritise some games over others, and it kind of slipped onto the back burner a bit. It's actually been about 7 months since I played this game. And so there are 3 problems that I can tell that are going to be an issue with restarting this game. Maybe more than 3. So I'd just like to go over them because I started writing a very lengthy response to that comment, and then must have hit some button on the keyboard that went back a page or loaded a different page or something and lost the whole bloody thing. So I wasn't happy about that, didn't want to rewrite the whole thing. And honestly, I've been looking at this game on my list, meaning to come back to it, and I keep meaning to. And I've even considered making a video speaking about it, and about the 3 problems that are an issue with returning to this game. So let's do that, right? I considered doing a community post, considered doing a video. What the hell? Here's a video, right? And it won't be the only video I put up today. So the first problem is the fact that I haven't played the game for quite some time. And the longer I leave it, the longer that time becomes. And essentially, I might not be very familiar with the controls when I come back to it. Now, they're not the most in-depth, complicated controls. They're similar controls to the Alone in the Dark reboot or remake, whatever you want to call it, and the Resident Evil 4 remake, which I played, last year, maybe this year? I can't remember when I played Alone in the Dark, because it took me a while. Anyway, similar controls, and I sense that there are a lot of games that fall into that sort of category that have very similar controls, a very unified control scheme that players of that kind of game are very used to. Now, I don't generally tend to play action-adventure games with minor puzzle elements or minor role-playing elements, so it's not the most familiar controls to me. I'm not going to pretend that I'll have no idea what I'm doing, but there's a distinct possibility I will do something wrong. I'm not used to, for example, pressing right-click to aim, then left-click to attack. I'm just used to, like, click to attack, so there will be issues. So that's the first problem, familiarity with the controls. This does directly relate to the second problem, however. The second problem is that I ended the previous episode right before a boss fight, and it's one of the nastier boss fights in the game. It's got a reputation, okay? It's not necessarily the hardest, but it's one of the hardest, and I haven't played for about 7 months, and I will not be familiar with the controls, so I'll be going into a hard boss fight with, probably not the muscle memory or control memory that I need. So it will be rough. That's one of the things that has put me off going back. Also, I'm aware that psychologically it can be one of the most upsetting boss fights, and I don't want to upset the audience too much. So I'll probably have to put in some disclaimer at the beginning going, hey, look, this is a nasty, scary, horrid monster. We kill horrid monsters. We are not the monsters. We are better than that, right? And yes, you could argue that killing the monster makes you a monster, but hey, that's another thing entirely, right? Now, the third problem, a somewhat more recent one, is that a new Silent Hill game has been released called Silent Hill F. I don't know what the F stands for. F knows. I mean, F you, F that, F your effing Silent Hill, get effed. Silent F off. We just don't know, okay? What we do know is that it's quite popular at the moment, and there's a lot of videos on YouTube related to that game. Consequently, many people will be searching for Silent Hill F or simply for Silent Hill. And as such, it would be very cynical of me to start replaying the Silent Hill 2 remake thinking, oh yeah, well, some people are just going to type Silent Hill in the search bar and they'll find it and click on it, and then they might stick around and watch it. They might be nasty and give me a give me a dislike because it's not the game they were looking for. They might stick around and go, hey, well, look, it's related. Let's see what it's like, Maybe they've played Silent Hill F and they want to see what Silent Hill 2 is like. Additionally, the developers who worked on the Silent Hill 2 remake are now working on a Silent Hill 1 remake, which was announced apparently a few months ago. I only became aware quite recently that they're doing that. And it would be nice of me to try and finish the second one before going back to the first one, which I work on as well, and see how that goes. So, yeah, so those are the three main problems. And another issue is, of course, that something would have to take a bit of a backseat for a while I get the Silent Hill game running again. Now, of course, I'm over the halfway mark in the Silent Hill game. I think I'm about 3/4 of the way through, maybe. So it has a finite length. It's a short game, but then we all know I like to explore and be thorough, so short games, my version of a short game is slightly longer than other people's version of a short game, But essentially, it has a set length, a limited duration. It's not like Darkest Dungeon where I can just keep playing forever, or a similar lengthy game where I can just really string it out and enjoy myself and enjoy the game without needing to progress particularly quickly. No, this Silent Hill 2 has a set duration, and it's like, there we go, that's it, that's the experience we're having. That's the story, and then it's done. Admittedly, there's a number of different endings, and I suspect I don't know which one I'm going to get, but I do know that of the many different endings for Silent Hill 2, one or two of them are really hard to get, so I might not necessarily get one I like. There's one I'd prefer not to get on a first playthrough, because you have to do pretty badly for that, but there's a whole load of conditions that tie into which endings you get. One of which I think is the amount of percentage of the playtime you are below a certain percent of your maximum health. It's like how badly hurt you are and how long you are badly hurt and stuff like that. It's like, oh, I may be really screwed on that one then. I don't know if conditions have changed. I do know, for example, that Maria's knife, she gave it to us in a cutscene. And in the original game, we would have been able to put the knife down, to abandon it, to not take it with us any further. In this new version, we cannot discard the knife. We're stuck with it. So there was an ending condition in the old game that related to whether you had the knife or did not have the knife at a certain point in the playthrough. And it wouldn't necessarily affect events at that point in the playthrough, but it would affect the ending you got. It would affect something. And this one, we're just stuck with the knife. We can't get rid of it. So it seems, I'd like to imagine ending conditions have changed for various endings, and I still don't know what they are. And I'd like to play it and find out. It's just that at the moment, do I try and farm some Silent Hill interest clicks? Do I get some Silent Hill hate for not playing Silent Hill F? Speaking of which, I am not playing Silent Hill F on this channel at the moment, because Silent Hill F minimum requirements require Windows 11, and Windows 11 requires a very specific chip to be in your computer, which did not exist when my computer was built, and my computer can't handle that chip. And in all fairness, it sounds like that chip doesn't do anything very nice, and all it does is make it nasty and difficult and hard for you to do anything that's not Windows 11 related. So I'm kind of grateful I don't have it. And, my washing machine is broke down, right? So I need to buy a new washing machine. And that's going to seriously eat into my saving up for a new computer funds, So, yeah, I haven't had a working washing machine for almost 2 weeks now. Getting a new one soon. That'll be good. That'll be great. But it does impact my ability to lavish money upon luxury things such as a game I can't play. I like what I've seen of Silent Hill F. I've seen quite a bit. I don't. Ooh, I will say for the F though, I don't like the fact that it has 5 endings, but that you are locked into one ending on your first playthrough, and in order to get any of the other 4, you have to play through the game again on a higher difficulty, which is only available after you've completed the base game by importing your old save. This is a thing called New Game Plus, which console players love and I hate. If you want to play on a higher difficulty, just change the difficulty setting. You shouldn't have to play the game again to gain access to a higher level of difficulty if you don't want to. If you love the game so much. Now, I did have some friends back in the day who used to say, oh, I love playing this game so much that when I finish it, I like to turn up the difficulty setting by 1 from like easy to normal or normal to hard or whatever, and then play through the whole thing again. It's like, okay, I might find that a little boring myself. I wouldn't criticize them for it, but I'm like, you could just turn up the difficulty. It's like, so for them, it's more like the ritual of going through the experience. It's not fresh. It's not new. It's grinding through the fights or whatever. And that's okay. That's like so it's like a practice makes perfect kind of thing, whereas I'm more about the story and the enjoyment, right? So for me, I'd rather leave a game that I've played and then come back to it later and maybe play on a higher difficulty rather than do it again immediately straight afterwards. But that's a thing that has been popularized by particularly Soulsborne players, and they call it New Game Plus and insist on it being in every game they play, and ruin Tainted Grail for Fall of Avalon because of it by insisting on it. So anyway, I feel that locking 80% of the game's possible endings behind New Game Plus is a really bad design decision, and I hope that's not the case in the Silent Hill 2 remake or the Silent Hill 1 remake that's forthcoming, because I am aware the Silent Hill 1 has like 5 or 6 endings, right? Because there's a character who can die very easily in Silent Hill 1, who you can only save if you know how to save them. It's like the chances of accidentally doing the thing that saves that character without knowing you have to do it on a first playthrough are extremely minimal. It's like in Dark Souls, where you can save the Sun Knight from the horrid sunhead bug thing that gets on his head if you know exactly where he is and go running down the other side of the wall and hit clipping through the wall to kill the thing. It's like, or find it before it goes and gets him, purely by it's abusing player knowledge essentially, and it feels wrong for a first time experience. So it's a similar sort of thing there to keep that one character alive. However, 2 of the game's endings have 2 different versions depending on if that character is alive or not, because she can play a part in those 2 endings. So that's 4 endings, right? Just based on that. So there's those 4. There's a 5th one. So let's see. There's the discovering that your character was dead in the car crash at the beginning the whole time ending. There's the did you kill the cult and big bad demon thing ending. There's 2 of those, depending on if the character who could have died is alive or dead. There's the did you kill the cult but save the life of the person that had the big bad demon thing trapped in them, and there's 2 versions of that depending on if the Silent Hill 1, all about a cult who sells drugs and is trying to summon a demon. Silent Hill 2, more like Ravenloft, the guy being dragged into his own personal hell version of Silent Hill. And there's the 2 versions of Silent Hill. There's the demonic cult, the demonic drug cult version of Silent Hill, and the personal hell version of Silent Hill. And the series uses both heavily. I mean, it's mostly the demonic cult, There's like the original Japanese games, which are a mixture of the demonic cult and personal hell, and then the American games, which apparently got made later, which just keep going back to the demonic cult and not using the personal hell side so much. And it feels like they got a bit too hung up on the cult and trying to make it feel a bit like prison gangs and gangsters and stuff. And look, here's the cult again, you know. Silent Hill F seems to lean heavily into the personal hell side, although as it's a prequel, it has sort of hints of the origins of the cult, which is nice, you know, because it helps tie things together. A lot of people complained that Silent Hill F doesn't really have anything to do with Silent Hill, isn't a Silent Hill game. I imagine those people only played the game once, because there are so many things in New Game Plus that tie into the other games much more closely, that I think it was a mistake for the developers to lock all this stuff behind playing the game a second time, because a lot of people just saw how the initial experience felt very unrelated and just hated it and complained about that and gave it a load of negative reviews and stuff. Anyway, getting back to the Silent Hill 2 remake, I absolutely do intend to finish it off at some point. I'm not sure when, but hopefully not too much longer now. I'd like to... I'd have to decide what's going to take a bit of a backseat. I mean, obviously, Evil Islands is kind of stuck, right? I hit a brick wall there. I may have to replay a significant portion of the game before I can even attempt that point where I was again. And it's not pretty. I don't know what to do there. I'm upset, because I wanted to finish Evil Islands 2, I really did, and it's just become almost impossible to the point of extreme frustration. I did actually load up Monomyth today. Went and thought I'd have another little try at fighting the fire slimes. The fact that I had those 9 explosive grenade-like weapons proved very useful. I was able to defeat them, and found out that I was correct. Basically, the room they were in was the end of the currently available content, and so I'm going to have to wait for the new patch, which should be available soon. On another unrelated note of ancient stuff that needs to be finished and continued, you may recall a long time ago on the channel I played a game called Sacred Fire. I played the playtest version of Chapter 1, you know, the first act, playtest version of the second act. The playtest version of the third act has been available to playtest for a while now, for a handful of months, and I've held off because I thought I'd wait till it was a bit nearer to release, but now it's kind of dragging its feet, so I might fire up a playtest and give that a go at some point. But I think I kind of would like to wait for a full release before diving back into it again and going for a proper complete playthrough. Right, so what would take a back seat for Silent Hill 2? Probably, look, Lost in the Open is very popular. It's getting way more views than most other games on my channel at the moment. But I have kind of hit a bit of a brick wall there as well, where I'm going to have to, you know, restart again and make another attempt. You know what? I probably will do another run, but it does give me a... It's got a harsher learning curve, harsher difficulty curve than some of the other games I've been playing. So I need to give a little bit of thought, decide what's going to make room for the Silent Hill 2 remake, and then, you know, get it all up on the channel for you all to enjoy. And hope I don't cop a load of hate for not playing the latest Silent Hill game. Speaking of which, of course, there is a new Resident Evil game coming sometime soon, isn't there? It's called Resident Evil Requiem, so it doesn't even have a number. It's just a word. That's not coming out for about 4 months. And the requirements do not yet state which version of, you know, what operating system it will run on. It might still be Windows 11 minimum, in which case I won't be able to play it. I'm interested, but I'll wait until I know what I can do. All right. So definitely wanting to finish off Silent Hill 2 remake at some point. I'm just not sure when I'll be able to slot it in. Hopefully sometime before Christmas, sometime within the next month or two. Hopefully within the next few weeks. I just need to work out if I'm going to have to shift any other games around, or if some are going to... Because, Tainted Grail's been taking a bit of a backseat recently because I was diving into Lost in the Open and playing a load of Steam demos. Actually, I've still got access to some of those Steam demos, and I might show off something in a little bit. But hey, I don't know how much longer I'll have that access for. But yeah. Right. Well, feel free to write stuff in the comments section. I apologise for not contacting you all about this earlier and the state of the game and the situation. Hope you'll all understand, and I will look forward to recording the game soon. Bye for now, everyone. See you all.